Well, moving along with our special segments, the next one up is called a median. So a median in a triangle. By definition, a median is a segment that goes from a vertex to the midpoint of the opposite side. So the blue segment here is a median. It bisects the opposite side. We've already discussed a perpendicular bisector. A median does not have to be perpendicular, but it must come from the vertex. And since there are three vertices, we could have three medians. So again, the main property of a median, from the vertex to the midpoint of the opposite side. It bisects the opposite side. We could have three medians. The point where they all intersect is called the centroid. That centroid is 2/3 of the distance from the vertex to the midpoint. So if you look at the blue segment, 2/3 of it is from the vertex to the centroid. 1/3 is to the midpoint. So they're all split up, 2/3 and 1/3. And that's a centroid. So again, some vocabulary that comes up that we can do some practice with. A median goes from the vertex to the midpoint. And our centroid is 2/3 of the way along the median. That's it. We go right to practice. It's just a definition that we have to be familiar with. So AB is a median. Remember, by definition, a median goes from the vertex to the midpoint, so it bisects the segment. So 4x minus 3 is equal to 6x minus 11. 4x minus 3. Those two segments have to be congruent. So let's do a little bit of work here. X equals 4. In our second problem, again, median means these are congruent. So we're going to copy that 6x plus 1 over. Our equation becomes 6x plus 1 plus 6x plus 1 equals 20x minus 8. 12x plus 2, 20x minus 8, 8x, 10. And it looks like we have 5/4. Let's see. 6x plus 1, 6x plus 1, 12x plus 2. That's an 8, that's a 10, 5/4. Okay. Here we have a triangular park. From the midpoint to the opposite corner. So we said a median goes from the vertex to the midpoint. Here they're saying it's going from the midpoint to the vertex. It's the same thing. These are all medians. And they meet at P. So that means P, let's find it in the picture here. I think red will stand out. P is the centroid. We're told that SC equals 2100. Now, if we remember, from the vertex to the centroid, is 2/3 of the segment. From the centroid to the midpoint is 1/3 of the segment. So PC equals 2/3 of 2100, or 1400 feet. PS equals 1/3 of 2100, or 700 feet. Let's see what else we have. We're working on the coordinate plane. Let's graph our triangle. We're given the 3 points of the triangle. So A is at -2, 6. B is at 3, 0. And C is at -3, -4. So let's see our triangle. AD is a median. Well, we already have A. A is the vertex. So that means D is the midpoint of the opposite side. A median goes from the vertex to the midpoint of the opposite side. So we're going from A, the vertex, to D, the midpoint on the opposite side. So D is in here somewhere. We're asked to find the ordered pair for D. So what we're really being asked to do is find the midpoint of CB. So we're going to use midpoint formula. Midpoint formula, the x of the midpoint equals x1 plus x2 over 2. And the y of the midpoint equals y1 plus y2 over 2. We're using points B and C. Just going to make a little room here. So call one of them 0.1 and the other one 0.2. And we're just going to plug it in. So the x values, 3 plus -3 over 2. That's 0. And for the y values, 0 plus -4 over 2. That's -2. So the midpoint is at 0, -2. This is D. So 0, -2 is point D. So we're really just doing the exact same thing we did in chapter 1. We used midpoint formula to find the midpoint. It's just that they said it was the end point of the median. They didn't tell us it was the midpoint. They told us it was part of the median. So the vocabulary stepped up from September to now. But what we actually had to do is exactly the same question that we did back in chapter 1. Okay, so we want to have our formulas handy. We might need distance formula. We might need midpoint formula. We're going to have to work on that coordinate plane. We're going to have to realize when things are congruent. We're going to use Pythagorean theorem. All of that stuff is going to be involved. All right, let's go do some more practice with it.